Okay, so good afternoon again. My work today focuses on the common data environment tools in the construction industry. And this work was part of the CBIM project, which is funded by European Union Horizon 2020 program. I will start with explaining what a common data, or in short, a CDE is. It was proposed by the ISO 19650 standard as an agreed source of information for any given project or asset. And it is often defined as a single source of truth for all project information along the whole life cycle of a built asset. A CDE can both mean the CDE solution, which can be basically a software or a data storage where data is exchanged between the stakeholders. But CDE also means the CDE workflow, which organizes the flow of the information between the different CDE containers. So, for example, between work in progress, shared, published, and archive folders. And the CDE should be used basically for the whole life cycle, starting from the design through construction and operation and maintenance phase. So in practice, we have many different CDE solutions that we can use in construction. For example, in the design and construction phase, it is common to use BIM platforms such as BIM 360, but also document management systems like Aconex or Viewpoint for projects. And in the same time, stakeholders are also using basic cloud-based repositories such as Dropbox or SharePoint, which can be also used in the later stages. However, in the operation and maintenance phase, more complex tools like KFM systems or CMMS systems, including IBM Maximo or BIM 360 Ops, are also common to use. So why I did research, like the reason why I did this research was because there is a lack of common understanding about what a CDE tool is and what functionalities it can provide in each of the lifecycle phases. And it is also unclear how the tools are used in practice by the stakeholders and if they meet their requirements and the ISO standard regulation as well. So the methods that I used were first the literature review to define what the CDE is and what functionalities it should have. And later on, we used qualitative methods such as semi-structured interviews and surveys with practitioners to find out how they are using the tools in practice, which was also complemented by the desk research to find more about the tools from the software providers. So first, based on the literature, we developed a framework for assessing the maturity of the CDE tools. We identified 4 different areas or different functionalities of CDEs. First of all, it is used for document management of construction projects, which can be, like all of the areas can be assessed in 3 different levels. So in a basic solutions, it is only to store and exchange the documents between stakeholders, but in the more advanced solutions, it should provide version control and even automatic management of the CDE workflows. The other very important aspect is the integration of BIM with the CDE. So the basic solution just provides the ability to store the BIM data, but in the level 2, it should also provide integration with IFC and BCF formats and direct revision, viewing, and markups of the BIM models. But ideally, in the most advanced level of CDE, it should provide multidisciplinary and real-time collaboration on BIM models. And another very important aspect of CDE is the security aspect. However, like in the very basic level of CDEs, the tools are providing only unstructured file servers, while ideally it should be, like the data should be stored with an object level data storing to provide more data ownership protection. And the last area of functionalities of CDE is the lifecycle. As I mentioned, it should be used along the whole life cycle, starting from the design and ending in operation and maintenance. So the functions should be designed especially for those life cycle phases. And now I will present the results of the qualitative data collection. We started with like online survey with industry stakeholders. We had different participants from many, like all of the fields of construction lifecycle. So many BIM managers, but also architects, people from general contractor companies, but also facility managers. And one of the first questions was about how do they, or what means of exchange of data they use. And as you can see, emails are the most common method of exchanging information, even now. And on the second place, we have the basic cloud repositories such as Dropbox or Google Drive and so on. And then later on are coming the BIM platforms such as BIM 360 or Graphisoft solution or any other software vendor solution, followed by the electronic document management systems such as Aconex. The next question was about asking which software exactly do they use. So in this survey, BIM 360 was the most common solution that they use, but also Aconex and Viewpoint were mentioned, and Dropbox again was, and I think OneDrive was also mentioned by many of the participants. The second part of the data collection were the interviews with 15 BIM experts. These were again BIM managers from general contractor companies, architecture companies, and again facility managers who have some experience with BIM in asset management. And then based on those interviews and survey and desk research, we provided an analysis of the functions, like benefits and drawbacks of each of the tools. So the most common tool, like I previously mentioned, was BIM 360 from Autodesk, which is now called, I think, Autodesk Construction Cloud. And it is used mainly because it provides a very advanced level of BIM collaboration. So it's very easy to use, and it also provides a very good level of RFI management, which is not that easy to do in other tools, as they are not that well integrated with BIM software. However, it is mainly focused on the BIM collaboration, so it doesn't provide a like good level of CDE workflow management. So for like submissions, like sign-offs and approval processes of the documents, other tools like Viewpoint or Aconex are used, complementary to the BIM 360. Another tool was BIM Collab, which is kind of similar to BIM 360. It also provides very good level of BIM collaboration, but again, it doesn't provide the management of the BIM workflow, CDE workflow, sorry. And the tools that are providing those functions are, for example, Viewpoint for projects or Aconex. So they are very, very advanced, and they even make it possible to automatize the approval and sign-off processes. Additionally, Aconex also provide immutable record of transactions and very advanced versioning, versioning of the files. However, the problem is that they are not integrated well with other tools. So while stakeholders are using those in design phases, they cannot transfer data to other tools. Especially in the handover, everything has to be done manually. And as I mentioned, stakeholders really like to use simple data repositories such as Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, or SharePoint. It is because they are very easy to use, and compared to other tools, they are also quite affordable. So they are often used in parallel to make things quicker, just to exchange something very quickly. However, they do not really provide any construction-specific functionalities, and they also lack to a poor level of security. So in the end, we provided a comparison table for all of the tools that we identified, including their monthly price, the number of users that the BIM survey participants used, and also we assessed the level of the development from the previously presented framework. So you can see that the level 3 is not achieved by any of the tool in all of the 4 areas. It is mostly like that some of the tools are focusing more on the BIM management or BIM collaboration aspect, while the others are more advanced in the document management area. And these are like some other tools that you can also like see in the paper in more details. These are again the cloud-based platforms, which are all like very basic level, like level 1 in all of the areas. And the main output or the main result of the survey of the study is that there is still a need for using all of those different tools in each of the phases, and it is basically because each of the phases have different requirements, and it is almost impossible to create a tool that would fulfill all of the requirements in all of the phases in one tool. And also inside of one of the phases, each of the stakeholders have different requirements as well. So even in design phase, we have different tools used in the same time. This means that there is lack of a single source of truth, like it should be according to the ISO standard. And the tools that are used are unfortunately not integrated well, so this leads to some further problems with the traceability and transparency in construction projects. So that's, there are the references that I used, and thank you very much for your attention.